It was a bitter January morning, the kind that seeps through your uniform and clings to your bones like a second skin of ice. The streets were quiet, the sky overcast with thick, looming clouds that looked ready to spill snow at any moment. Officer Lila Moreno wasn't supposed to be on the old gravel road near Westbrook Bridge. Her patrol shift had taken her elsewhere, but something, call it instinct or fate, pulled her off route. There was no call, no emergency. Just a heaviness in her chest that made her take a detour down a forgotten path. The fog was thick, curling like ghosts along the roadside, and the world had gone unnaturally still. That's when she saw it. A small, unusual shape near the base of the bridge. She slowed the car, heart beginning to thud. Stepping out, her boots crunching the frostbitten gravel, Lila approached and stopped short. There, barely upright, was a golden retriever. Blindfolded. Shivering. Strapped to its back was a small, faded pink backpack. The dog wasn't moving, just waiting. As if it had accepted whatever was coming next. Lila crouched slowly, hands shaking as she reached for the scarf tied tightly around the dog's head. It was a child's scarf, fraying at the ends, still clinging to the scent of cinnamon and dust. As she gently untied it, her breath caught. The dog's eyes were not frightened, they were empty, clouded with pale mist. The dog wasn't just blindfolded. It was blind. Lila sat back, trying to process what she was seeing. She removed the backpack with care, almost dreading what she might find inside. No food. No supplies. Just a single, crumpled piece of paper. The handwriting was unsteady, small, and uneven, clearly from a child. It read, "Please don't hurt her. She saved me. Her name is Daisy. She's the only good thing I had." Lila read it twice before the weight of those words sank in. This dog hadn't been discarded. She had been entrusted. Someone had given up their only source of comfort with the hope that Daisy would find kindness somewhere else. That night, Lila didn't take Daisy to the shelter. She didn't even radio the find-in. Instead, she wrapped Daisy in a blanket from her patrol car and took her home. Her apartment above the old bakery was small and modest, filled with more books than furniture. She made a bed out of layered towels and soft blankets in the corner of the kitchen. Daisy didn't move much that first night. She didn't eat, didn't bark, didn't sleep, just lay curled in the tightest ball possible, flinching at every distant sound. Lila didn't push her. She simply sat nearby, reading aloud from her old police journals and drinking tea in silence. Sometimes she talked to Daisy about nothing at all, her day, her memories, the way the city used to smell in spring. She just wanted the dog to hear a human voice that didn't carry fear. The days passed slowly. Daisy remained timid and withdrawn, only leaving her spot to cautiously sip water or nudge the food bowl. On the third night, when Lila came home exhausted from a tense shift, she found Daisy sitting closer to the door, ears perked at the sound of her keys. It wasn't much. But it was something. Lila started making changes. She added wind chimes to doorways and sent markers on the floor so Daisy could navigate without sight. A lavender scent marked her food area. Vanilla marked her bed. The entire apartment became a guide map of safety. And slowly, Daisy adapted. She followed Lila's footsteps by sound. She waited at the door when Lila returned. One day, she even wagged her tail. As Daisy began to heal, Lila found herself thinking constantly about the note. About the child who had written it. Who was Lily? And why had she been forced to part with her only friend? Lila, who had once been a foster child herself, felt a tightening in her chest every time she reread the note. She began her own quiet investigation. She combed through foster home records, social service documents, and local shelter reports. That's how she found the name, Lily Morgan. Age 7. Formerly housed in a group foster home just outside the city that had been quietly shut down 6 months earlier. The official report said the home had been closed for structural and administrative deficiencies. But survivor testimonies, buried in old files, spoke of abuse, neglect, and silence. Lila dug deeper. There were drawings. Scribbled stories. In one, a child had drawn a golden retriever with the words "Daisy the hero" underneath. It had to be the same Lily. The more Lila uncovered, the more haunted she became. According to records, Lily had vanished from the system entirely. No forwarding address. No rehoming file. Just a note in digital ink, relocated. Lila knew what that meant. Someone had failed her. Just as she had once been failed. Only now, Lila was in a position to change that. She spent her off hours calling shelters, posting discreet questions in online communities, contacting truck stops and bus depots. Most didn't respond. Some shrugged. A few hung up on her. But Lila persisted. Meanwhile, Daisy had bloomed into a companion. Though she would never see again, she had memorized every inch of the apartment. She slept at Lila's feet, nudged her arm when she sensed tension, and sometimes rested her head in Lila's lap as if to say, "I know the darkness too." The two of them, rescuer and rescued, had become inseparable. But Lila knew their story wasn't complete. She hadn't found Lily. One night, a long-haul trucker messaged her anonymously. He remembered seeing a girl with a dog outside a gas station weeks earlier, begging someone to take her dog somewhere safe. The girl had seemed frightened, desperate, and disappeared before anyone could act. It wasn't much, but it was something. Lila followed the trail. There was no security footage. No names. No answers. She sat in her car and cried for the first time in years. Not just for Lily, but for all the children she couldn't save. At home, Daisy was waiting. She pressed herself gently into Lila's legs and sat there, unmoving, until Lila stopped shaking. No words were needed. They understood each other. With no official help coming, Lila turned to the one resource she had left, people. She posted a photo of Daisy with the caption, "Do you know Lily? This dog saved her life. We're trying to bring them back together." Within a day, the post exploded. Shared tens of thousands of times. People wrote in with their own stories of dogs who protected them, of children who had survived thanks to a loyal animal friend. Then a teenager from a nearby city reached out. She had been in the same group home. She remembered Lily. And yes, she remembered Daisy. They were never apart, the message read. Lily called her her angel. Finally, hope came. A retired schoolteacher who ran a safe house for runaway kids sent a message. A girl had shown up a few weeks prior. Quiet. Barely spoke. But she carried a photo of a golden retriever with cloudy eyes. When shown Daisy's picture, she broke down. She hadn't cried until that moment. She hadn't spoken Daisy's name until then. Lila drove for hours in silence. Daisy lay in the back seat, nose twitching, tail occasionally thumping at the mention of Lily. The reunion wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. Sacred. Lily was sitting on a patchwork rug in a sunlit room. She looked smaller than Lila imagined. Thin, guarded, eyes too old for someone so young. Lila gently unclipped Daisy's harness. The dog tilted her head, listening. Lily whispered, "Daisy," and the retriever stumbled forward. She knocked over a stool, bumped into a chair leg, then barreled directly into Lily's arms. The girl wrapped herself around the dog and didn't let go. Neither of them made a sound. But the silence held everything: grief, relief, love, and home. Today, Lily lives with the teacher who took her in. She's officially adopted. Daisy sleeps curled at the foot of her bed, one ear always listening, always alert. Lila visits often. She brings treats, brushes, and soft smiles. She also launched a new program at her precinct, Project Second Leash, connecting abandoned dogs with children in foster care. Because sometimes, healing doesn't come from therapy or medicine. Sometimes, it comes from a dog who doesn't need to see you to know your heart. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Stories like this aren't fiction, they're proof that love, loyalty, and healing are real, even in a world that so often forgets them. Special request: if you're still here, please leave a comment with the word hope. Let's flood the comments with love and light and remind the world that second chances matter.